This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
There just seems to be more anger and more arguments and more difficulties with families and couples having arguments. And I just see stress being higher this time around than in the past.
Is social media becoming a minefield for political discourse? Some psychologists on the Suncoast say they're seeing more patients stressed out by the election and the Trump presidency. Is it time for us to step back when it comes to how we talk about politics and how we argue about it? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on the pressure politics is putting on relationships coming up. But first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin tonight with an increase in the number of reported cases of human trafficking nationwide and here in Florida. The National Human Trafficking Hotline reports 7,500 cases in the last year, an increase from 5,500 the year before. More than 550 cases were here in Florida. In fact, we are ranked 3rd in the nation for trafficking. Local advocacy groups say the increasing numbers may actually be a good sign.
It means the awareness and education that's been happening for many years, that More to Life's been one of the leaders of, is actually starting to pay off.
And I think the education's actually helping the girls to know this is not who I am. I'm so much more, and I can get help.
Anti-trafficking groups say the next step is focusing on prevention and helping men and women before they become victims. Manatee County Sheriff's deputies are searching tonight for a teenager believed to be involved in a Lakewood Ranch murder. Deputies say 17-year-old Alan Bailey is wanted in connection to the death of Alexander Chirp. Another suspect was arrested over the weekend, 19-year-old Jose Hernandez. He faces charges of murder and armed robbery. Hernandez is being held on $850,000 bond. Chirp's body was found in the parking lot of Greenbrook Park on February 5th. Anyone with information on the shooting or Bailey's whereabouts is asked to contact Manatee County Crime Stoppers at the number on your screen. Florida Power and Light is expanding the use of solar energy here on the Suncoast, opening 3 new plants today. FPL held a celebration for its 1 million new solar panels. The new plants are in Manatee, DeSoto, and Charlotte counties. Each plant is capable of generating enough energy to power 45,000 homes each day. FPL officials say this is only the start. The company plans to build 8 more solar plants this coming year, or in the coming years. The Florida manatee population continues to make strides, according to a new survey. Florida Fish and Wildlife conducted an aerial survey 3 weeks ago. More than 6,600 manatees were counted, almost equally split on the east and west coasts of the state. This is the 3rd straight year the manatee population count has surpassed 6,000. Who wants to get through airport security faster? Raise your hands. Sarasota Bradenton International Airport is inviting travelers to take advantage of TSA PreCheck. The airport is hosting a 3rd temporary enrollment event for passengers to apply for TSA PreCheck. Another enrollment period was held earlier this month, but ended earlier because of high demand. Passengers can apply for the program online and then make an in-person appointment starting March 13th. Those with PreCheck can skip removing their shoes and having liquids and laptops screened at airport security checkpoints. Today is President's Day, and some Suncoast veterans are using it as a reflection on the sacrifices made by their fellow service members. Around 40 veterans visited Patriot Plaza at the Sarasota National Cemetery today. Some of the men we spoke to say it is a bittersweet visit.
You can't imagine the emotion I feel for the fellows that I knew in the service, for my family that was in the service. It's just, and someday I'm going to be here. It's just a wonderful and yet a bittersweet emotion.
This is the 2nd year the Community Foundation of Tampa Bay has organized the tour. Last year, only 10 veterans participated. With drier than normal weather on the Suncoast, the Forestry Service is elevating the risk for wildfires. We are now at a moderate risk, and it could be raised to high risk. To help avoid any major wildfires, Sarasota County has held controlled burns more than 30,000 acres over the last 3 years. The Venice Fire Department says we have been lucky so far.
Lack of rain that we've had and the wind conditions it is now, and with the few cold fronts we've had through and the humidity went down, the increase in the fire intensity and the risk that a fire will start has gone up.
Over the last 3 years, there have been controlled burns on more than 30,000 acres in Sarasota County. Bob, is there any chance of us getting a sustained rainfall in the coming days or weeks?
We had a pretty good rain on Saturday afternoon. That helped out matters, and the system that moved through was not a cold front. Typically when cold fronts move through, the humidity drops severely and the winds do pick up, but that wasn't the case with this last system, and it looks like the next one on Wednesday will not be a cold front either, so it'll bring some beneficial rains, and then afterward the humidity will not drop. But get a look, this is a Keach-Byram index, and it shows you how dry things are at the surface. And you can see the areas in red there. Those numbers are extremely high right now. And in fact, everything in our viewing area is above 500, which is considered dry. And those numbers will only go higher with the lack of rainfall around. But there is a storm system that is developing to the west of us. So you can see it quite clearly on the satellite and radar imagery showing that rainfall moving toward the east. Now currently, we have clear skies, 69. It was a warm day today, 61 in the dew point. We also noticed the humidity at 75%. We get at a high fire danger here when the humidity drops below 35%. So it's not there, and we don't expect it to drop much this week as a result of this being a storm system that is not going to bring a cold front our way. Well, the evening planner looks like this evening, just a few clouds coming in from the west through 11 o'clock. Temperature right at 64 degrees at 11 o'clock. So we'll stay warm through the evening. Temperatures right now pretty mild up and down the coast and across the state. 70 in Tallahassee, 76 in Key West, and temperatures near the coast, upper 60s to low 70s. Still warm in Mayaca City at 78, 75 in Arcadia. Well, much more on this storm system and how much rain we can expect coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, getting into a shouting match on social media. Does anyone ever win one of those? What kind of impact is it having on you and your relationships? And is there a way to bring it down a notch? The story when we come back.
Suncoast Storm Team at ABC7. We're here for you.
Car experts and customers agree. There's a whole lot to love about a new Subaru. Subaru was named the 2016 Best Overall Brand, Most Trusted, and Best Performance Brand by Kelley Blue Book. And ALG named Subaru its top mainstream brand for residual value for 2016. Now you can lease a new Subaru Outback for just $229 a month or get 0% financing during the Subaru True Love event. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her so I could call and thank them. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast. Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-652-3012. That's 1-800-652-3012. Call now, 1-800-652-3012. For a free brochure, call 1-800-652-3012.
Join us for Sarasota Opera's 2017 Winter Festival, opening February 11th. Featuring Puccini's most famous opera, Madame Butterfly, Rossini's delightful comedy, The Italian Girl in Algiers, Poulenc's heartbreaking Dialogues of the Carmelites, and the medieval thriller, The Love of Three Kings by Italo Montemezzi. Tickets are on sale now. Call 941-328-1300 or visit sarasotaopera.org.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. Our promise means a new car you'll love. If not, return it for one you do. At Sarasota Ford, we promise live market pricing. We monitor national pricing on our entire inventory, so you get the best deal. In fact, we guarantee it. Bring us any competitor's ad, and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
What is the greatest threat to our nation? Think about it for a moment. ISIS, terrorism, illegal immigration, the struggling middle class. Some would say it is the nature of our politics and our political discourse. Too often it is not enough just to argue your position. You have to hate the other side. Kate Flexter joins us with more. Kate.
Thanks, Alan. If you thought political arguments would go away after the election, no such luck. But now some are stepping away from talking politics in an effort to bridge the gap.
It turns out President Trump isn't the only one taking to social media to voice his opinions. Today, it's nearly impossible to scroll through your Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram account without stumbling on a political post. And for Americans on both sides of the spectrum, that rhetoric is getting old.
Trump won. Stop picking on him and let him do his job.
We've been trying to avoid it because before you could talk about politics, it was okay, but now it's not.
It's caused rifts in families and friendships. On Twitter, reports of people uninviting loved ones to Thanksgiving because of political differences. And on Facebook, there's a support group for people who are sick and tired of hearing about politics. The most recent post: "The end is near. Hang in there." Even Republican State Representative Joe Gruters, who lives and breathes politics, is tired of scrolling through his Facebook feed to find more political posts.
I personally try to stay out of the tit-for-tat type discussions because nobody wins.
Gruters says the conversation often steers towards disrespect.
If someone still disagrees with me, I just move on. But there's no sense to continue to bash your head against the wall, because generally people have their core political principles, and they're not going to budge from those.
Democrat Susan Nylon agrees the political conversation can be exhausting.
It's a lot. It's more than we're accustomed to handling.
And also sees a great deal of disrespect, things she says people would never say face to face.
A lot of people feel that it doesn't matter what they do or say because they're not really speaking to an individual, they're just speaking to an idea. But the truth is there's somebody at the other end of that who reads that.
The American Psychological Association reports more than half of U.S. adults, regardless of party, felt very or somewhat stressed by this election. And Pew Research reports about a quarter of social media users changed their settings to see fewer posts from someone because of something related to the election.
It just seems like it's different than it was 8 years ago.
Clinical psychologist and author Dr. Daniel Van Engen specializes in anxiety disorders and trauma. He witnessed an increase in anxiety during and following the election.
There's an extraordinary amount of stress that's happening in families because of the election.
But we've always had two sides, and this is certainly not the first contentious election. So what's changed? Van Engen says social media could be to blame.
We have more disrespect and more anxiety to be assertive with ideas comfortably. So it is easier to type something without any cost or consequence.
Both Gruters and Nylon say avoiding that disrespect is key. Both say maintaining a healthy political dialogue is crucial for the future of our country.
No matter where you fall on the political spectrum, at the end of the day, we have to be civil to each other. You have to remember the golden rule of always treating others the way you want to be treated.
You can deliver your message without being mean-spirited, and your point is better taken if it's not coupled with bad language or extreme measures of hate.
We spoke to several other psychologists who all said they've seen an increase in cases of anxiety related to the election.
Kate, thank you, and I can only imagine the viewer comments we're going to get on this one. Coming up, a fascinating round table. Two of our regular political analysts, a Democrat and a Republican, who left here one night after a heated exchange and decided no more. They'll continue to debate the issues, but in a different way. Stay with us. We're taking it to the trapezoid.
Only certified surgeon of excellence in metabolic and bariatric surgery in the area, Dr. Joseph Chepley has performed more than 1,300 successful bariatric surgeries. Join us on ABC7 News from 5 to 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, February 23rd. Dr. Joseph Chepley and his talented staff will be taking your phone calls as we discuss what makes someone a good candidate for surgery and the different options available to patients in our area. Thursday, February 23rd.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
I owed the IRS $20,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 1-800-565-7740. That's 1-800-565-7740.
Go ahead. Make a fashion statement. Demand something more than just ordinary. Capture elegance in every turn and drive with flair. Where beautiful styling is standard. Stop in and take a test drive. I'll guarantee you'll never go back to plain vanilla again. The all-new 2017 Fiat 500, starting at $14,999. Only at Sunset Fiat in Sarasota.
Welcome back. Is the nature of our political discourse becoming as much of a threat to our nation as terrorism or the budget deficit or anything else? If so, what can we do about it? This time isn't healing old wounds. The anger, the animosity, the name-calling, that was the 2016 presidential election, isn't a thing of the past. It has continued as Donald Trump has assumed office and through his first month as president. Some opponents are horrified, not just about the wall or immigration, roundups, or the travel ban, or the new bosses at the EPA, or the Department of Education, Russia. Detractors are aghast at the president's Twitter rants and statements that just aren't true, etc. The president's supporters say, just give the man a chance. Look at what his administration does, not at what the president says. Some will call protesters snowflakes, and many will use the word liberal as a slur. And joining us for more, and Ryan, you're shaking your head already. Joining us for more are two longtime friends on different sides of the political spectrum, Susan Nylon of Nylon and Associates, and Rod Thompson, the president of the Sarasota Republican Club. We can talk about liberal later.
Liberal,
but
don't call me that.
Let's tell our viewers that we're doing this because one night recently, both of you were on this broadcast, and the conversation about politics got overly heated.
Sure.
You left, and Susan, what happened next?
You know, I've been thinking about this for a while because I've been observing, and I'm sure you guys have as well, friends, people that we know personally in our lives actually having fights, public fights, and pretty nasty fights, you know, on social media and out in public. And I saw it destroying friendships. And the night that Rod and I were here having this conversation, I turned to him when we were walking out and I said, you know, we're partly responsible for this. We have, you know, not only social media feeds, but we come on the air. We do all these things that are in the public, and people look to us for what is happening. And not so much that Rod and I have a lot of vitriol in our messages, but our followers do, and we allow it to happen. And I said to him, we need to make a conscientious effort and maybe a pact that we will make more of an effort to not allow that kind of dialogue to go on.
Rod, had you been thinking the same thing all along?
Right. So we're walking through the newsroom. She's saying that all to me, and it's like, that's exactly where I am. That's exactly what I've been thinking too. Basically, I just got sick to death of it. And I also recognized that I was a part of the problem. Because looking at my Facebook posts and stuff, you know, I'm really, you know, I love the English language. I love using it to its fullest, but sometimes you can abuse it too. And so what I did after our conversation, I went home and the next day I went ahead and posted.
Yeah,
and I put it right out there saying, this is what I'm going to try to do. This is what my plan is. This is why. And we can talk about it later, but it got a lot of fascinating and interesting feedback that's still going on.
And we're friends on Facebook. And I noticed that you stopped posting a lot of highly charged political things.
Right, and that was totally on purpose. There's plenty of it out there. I don't need to. And so I've been posting in a whole different way here. You know, really looking at actually doing a little bit of original reporting, keeping it very short for Facebook, and trying to inform and put a lot of context. A lot of what I'm posting is for context. I think it's lacking, but it gets away from, you know, calling people hair on fire liberals and this, you know, and the histrionics of the left and all this sort of stuff.
That's actually nice for the things that I've been called.
I mentioned this at the outset, and I've said this to another friend of mine, that sometimes people use the word liberal as a slur.
Yeah, well, sometimes I mean it as a slur. But really, here's the point. If you know liberals and you can put a face to a liberal, as somebody who's a real person and a friend, it changes it completely.
It does.
If you have this sort of vague dynamic out there of liberals as these pictures of demonstrators with weird things going on in Washington, and that's your picture of a liberal, that's easy to name call. Have some friends, reach out to some people who aren't like you, make friends with those people in some fashion, and it will change a little bit how you label them.
I agree, absolutely. And you know, I think it's a concerted effort to be measured and to be nice, especially when you yourself are feeling, you know, pretty emotional. And I think these are lessons that you know, we have to learn.
We are just getting started, and we'll have more on social media and politics and political discussion when we come back right after our forecast.
Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
Call right now to get your free Senior Care Compass ebook. Find out about the 5 best-kept secrets on financing senior care and assisted living.
Call now, 800-290-0352. 800-290-0352.
Nick Bolton here with the new Tac Light Lantern from Bell & Howell. The Tac Light Lantern collapses down smaller than a smartphone and weighs less than a pound. But don't let its small size fool you. It's twice as bright as an ordinary lantern. The secret is the genuine Bell & Howell Cobb LEDs that are smaller, brighter, and more energy efficient than regular LEDs. They make our Tac Light Lantern so bright it can fill an entire room with light and visible up to 2 nautical miles away. Plus, this lantern is built like a tank. It's heat resistant, works submerged in water, and can survive even the coldest conditions.
Act now, and through this special TV offer, you can get the Bell & Howell Tac Light Lantern for just $19.99 plus free shipping. But that's not all. Order today and we'll also upgrade you to our Deluxe Tac Light Lantern with magnetic base, absolutely free. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-897-7755 or go to taclightlantern.com.
Hurry in to Sunset Dodge, Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota for big savings on some of America's best vehicles. Over 100 standard and available safety features make the new Chrysler Pacifica a safe investment for any family. And right now, you can buy one for just $24,999 or save up to $11,000 on a new Ram Crew Cab during Ram Truck Month. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota.
Our discussion of social media political fights continues in a moment, but right now let's get a check on our weather with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
There's no fighting about our weather today. I think everyone can agree on this, that it was beautiful this afternoon and warm too. High temperatures topped out into the low to mid 80s. Beautiful sunset tonight as well, and some photos sent in. This one from last night's sunset. Beautiful shot it was from Chad, and we also had a shot this morning from Dale getting this nice eagle there and one of the holes before folks got out there and started hitting the ball around. Here's what's going on right now. Not much in terms of rain here. Things are quiet. We could use the rain. We talked about that earlier. It's on the way. There's an area of low pressure here that will eventually track right off into the western portion or the eastern portion of the Gulf of Mexico, right near the western portion of the state. And that will bring us some much needed rain, but that happens on Wednesday as it moves across. Right now, some heavy rainfall moving through parts of Louisiana tonight. Some rough weather along Interstate 10, a line of showers and thunderstorms there. We could see some thunderstorms as well here. No rainfall report. We did get that sea breeze moving on in. It's all the way into the central portion of the state. And as far as red tide goes, there have been some emails sent in saying they had some very tough issues with some respiratory problems down near Venice Beach. You can see the moderate to high category there. And we still have some reports of red tide all the way up into Manatee County and near New Pass. It's lessened somewhat there, and it's kind of moved down to the south. As far as the concentration goes, it's fairly high to moderate from Venice northward up into near Osprey. Now, we are looking for a pretty nice night, though. Temperatures will be warm. We'll have into the mid-60s by 11 o'clock tonight. Right now, it's 69 degrees. There's the high, 83 degrees, the official high at the Sarasota Bradenton Airport. Normally, it's 74 degrees, and 57 was the morning low. Temperatures will stay warm, too, despite this storm system heading our way. We are going to see temperatures staying warm. We're not going to see a cold front move through. It's just an area of low pressure. So far for the month, 72/100ths of an inch of rainfall. It's 73 now in Orlando, 71 now in Miami, and temperatures into the low 70s to upper 60s right now from Bradenton southward to Inglewood and Northport, 72. Northport getting up to 85 degrees today. Well, the wind flow won't be all that strong. It'll be out of the east and southeast tomorrow, so we'll see another warm day. Highs will be in the upper 70s to low 80s, well above the average, and then the storms and rain comes in on Wednesday, and that brings us a pretty good round of showers and even a few thunderstorms right now as that area of low pressure tracks across the state. For Tuesday, we'll see some cloudiness, a little bit more than we saw today. Temperatures will still be warm, though. We'll warm up into the upper 70s to low 80s. Here comes the clouds and showers, though, associated with this area of low pressure, which will move down into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, depicting rainfall in the morning and even into the afternoon and evening for us. We could see some rainfall amounts up to an inch as it pushes off to the east on Wednesday. And as far as the big story goes weather-wise, it's out west again with a heavy rainfall moving on into California, where there are numerous watches out. For boaters tomorrow, winds out of the southeast turning to the southwest, seas running 1 to 2 feet in the light chop in the bays and inland waters. A 7-day forecast looks to be pretty wet on Wednesday, but then look, it clears out and temperatures stay above average right on in through Monday of next week. Alan will be back with a panel right after this. Stick around.
Car experts and customers agree. There's a whole lot to love about a new Subaru. Subaru offers more 2016 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus winners than any other brand. And Subaru had the best resale value of all brands for 2016. Now you can lease a new Subaru Forester for just $209 a month or get 0% financing during the Subaru True Love event. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
Is your old garage door stuck or broken? Would a new one give you a lift? Let Precision Door Overhead Garage Door Service of Sarasota come to the rescue with prompt and affordable repair service. Replacement doors come with an array of styles and colors, and they are rated to meet and exceed Florida standards. From estimates to installation, your satisfaction is our priority. If you're not 100% satisfied with any product, service, or installation, we will make it right, because Precision Door Service is a name you can trust.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help. And the Affordable Care Act guarantees coverage of substance abuse. Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Are you losing hope? You can recover and get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares.
Call 1-800-764-8708. That's 1-800-764-8708.
Cancer does change people's lives. It is frightening.
The treatment for fear is hope. And what works for you is not necessarily going to work for somebody else. It does take a whole team. This is a facility that really cares about the outcome of the patients. So our job at Sarasota Memorial Hospital is to meet the needs of that individual any way we need to meet them.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing how increasingly our political arguments are getting out of hand in person and online. You have probably seen it firsthand on your Facebook timeline. Our guests tonight are Susan Nylon of Nylon and Associates and Rod Thompson of the Sarasota Republican Club. Susan, if you look from the Democratic perspective, it's not just the policies, but there are Democrats out there who are legitimately feel like they are outraged about this president, what he says, what he does, not just that the Democrats lost the election, but the allegations involving Russia, and they are saying they are so outraged they want to be able to speak their mind.
Well, and they can, and they should. No way am I condoning people to not say anything. I'm a big advocate of standing up and speaking out for things. I just want people to put things in perspective. I want people to recognize that if you get so thin-skinned and so reactionary, or that you lose the perspective of what you're supposed to be focusing on. And you also lose your audience. I mean, when you start out of the gate screaming and yelling and ranting and raving, 9 out of 10 people are going to turn you off, and that's going to be your problem, because you're going to be finding yourself alone. Now, you might find yourself with other people who are going to scream with you, but what is that actually accomplishing? It may make you feel good for 5 seconds. You know, after the election, I shut down. You know, I turned off all social media for a couple of days. We had a policy in our house for 2 weeks that we were not allowed to talk about the election. My poor son was, you know, frustrated over that because it was just too much to process, and I would probably say things that I would regret. So I think that we still need to go back to the original thought of we have to be a little bit more measured, and we have to put a little more thought into our message in order to actually be productive.
Rod, let me ask you this. I mean, President Trump has used Twitter in ways that people have never imagined before. He says, he has enemies, including the press. He goes after people who oppose him with such veracity that is that the example that a lot of his supporters are going to follow?
Well, perhaps so, but it's their choice. I think my response to, if the president doesn't set the example, who does? I think the answer to that would be me. Because I can't control what President Trump tweets and what he does. I can't control what Susan does. I can't control what other people, but I can control what I do. And I think that if we would all take a little bit more personal responsibility to how we respond to situations, whether it's, personal issues or whether it's a lot of political stuff, if we took personal responsibility for how we respond, as opposed to thinking because somebody did X, I can now do Y and ratchet it up, things would be a lot better. I think the conversation would be better, and I think if we look at it as one of personal responsibility, then what we have is something where we don't need others telling us what to do. I don't need to tell anybody else what to do, but I can set an example for myself, and if everybody, or if most people would look at it that way, there would immediately be a change in the political atmosphere.
But here's the question. Is it easier to say that and practice that because you won?
Here, I'll answer that. I don't know because I won. But here's the deal. When I posted that on Facebook, because I made it public, that statement, and it got mixed reviews from liberals and conservatives both. But so I posted what we're talking about here. After our talk, the next day,
went on Facebook.
I went out, I posted it, and I explained why I was, I was tired of the rhetoric and all, and I was going to be much more measured and careful in my responses to things. And there was mixed response. There were people, right out of the gate, I think some person thought it was sarcastic. There was somebody on the opposite side that just R-rated response to it, to Trump, and that he was going to keep it up. And then people on my side, virtually the same thing, less R-rated, but the same thing, saying basically no. However, we had both conservatives and liberals on that stream that were agreeing with it and thankful for it and supportive of it, very supportive. And 2 pastors even were on it saying, this is what we need. This is what we need. And so, but what happened there, Alan, is that immediately made me accountable, because what happened was, naturally enough, in the next few days, I fell off the wagon. Right?
And I called him on it a few times, too.
She wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
I got called on it, and I thought, that's right. I said that, and I meant it, and I need to do it. And so it's taken a little bit of effort on my part, because
it's a lot of effort.
It's just easy, right? To just jump right out there with the vitriol. It's so easy. It just rolls off the tongue, and Facebook and other things make it easy. But it's gotten better, and my posts are definitely different than they were.
As we saw in Kate's story, according to the local psychologist, this is taking a real toll on real relationships. Anecdotally, I know couples that have walked out on each other because of the election. I know friends who are no longer friends from because of this. You know, there are people who I am friends with on Facebook, but I've unfollowed them because I don't want to hear the political discussion either way right now. I want to know what's happening at their families and their kids, but we're tired of that and you know, what it's costing us in terms of our friendships.
Well, you know, you got to go back to the old adage of when you get together with family and friends, there's a few topics you don't talk about: politics and sports and religion. You know, stick to the weather, and there's some truth to that. Here's my concern, is that we have been on this escalation of continual emotional responses for a long time now, for a couple months. And I'm concerned that we're not going to be able to endure that. And when you exhaust yourself and you tire out, then what happens?
Well, that's the next question. Where does that go? Because as I said at the outset, I believe the problem with our political discourses is the biggest challenge our nation has, because it is getting so heated, occasionally violent, that if it continues at this trajectory, Rod, what do you fear?
Right, there's a couple of options that could happen here. We have an increasing silo effect, where more and more people who have different worldviews simply refuse to interact with each other. That's not good. Another option is that a large chunk of people just become apathetic and turn the whole thing off, a pox on everybody, and they just step away from it all. That's not healthy either. Of course, the third option is that it erupts into a lot of violence. That's not a good option either. So to me, we have three bad options if we continue doing it this way. This is why Susan and I and others are actually trying to make a difference, trying to make some impact, trying to take some step forward to change the dynamic.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have final thoughts from our guests, plus what some of our viewers are saying about President Trump's first month in office. Stay with us.
Out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com for Chef Judy's favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining. The official Suncoast Storm team at ABC7. We're here for you.
Is your mop a dirty, disgusting mess? You need the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System, the only mop and bucket that spins the dirt away. A system that cleans practically anything and everything with super absorbent microfiber. Dip it in the washer side and the mess releases into the bucket. Then place it in the dryer side and push on the pedal. You get a clean mop pad that's practically dry and ready for more. And your hands will never again touch a dirty, disgusting mop. The heads are washable and reusable. Get the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System for just 2 payments of $19.99. You'll also get a Sticky Buddy, the reusable sticky roller that picks up pet hair and lint and washes clean in seconds. You can take advantage of our 2-for-1 Pick It Up special and get a second spin mop set. Just pay additional shipping and fee. And we'll upgrade you to free priority handling. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-394-1524 to get your Hurricane Spin Mop double offer. So hurry and call 1-800-394-1524. Call now.
There's a whole new way to bank at Achieva Credit Union with Achieva Checking Plus. Get new unique features like full ID theft protection and online shopping rewards. Plus, it's an interest-bearing account, so you have a little extra for what really matters. Achieva Checking Plus isn't just an account for your money, it's for your life, including cell phone insurance. And that's good to know. Discover the plus at achievacu.com. Achieva, banking for good. Achieva Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA.
Luxury for less at Alex Karras Lincoln. Drive a brand new 2017 Lincoln MKC Sports Utility for $249 per month or a 2017 MKZ for $299 per month. We are proud to introduce the newest addition to the Lincoln lineup, the all-new 2017 Lincoln Continental. We have a great selection and ready for immediate delivery. Alex Karras Lincoln, affordable luxury, winner of the prestigious 2015 President's Award, serving Florida's Suncoast since 1978. We're located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
Welcome back. Have you unfriended anyone because of their political views, maybe gotten into an argument in the comment section of a post or in person, on the phone, online, whatever? You're not alone, but can we do something to make our political discourse more civil? And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. Susan, answer the question. I mean, it's one thing to set an example, but I guarantee you we look at the comments about tonight's show and some of them will be off the wall.
I got to tell you, it's not easy. It really isn't. And I often would like to just blast someone and call them names just to shut them down. And I have to always remind myself that not only does it not accomplish anything, but other people are watching. Other people who you may not be aware, like my son, for example, who I'm trying to live by example. He's watching, and I don't want anyone to think that this behavior is good, even if it's justified. And I do care about these people in my life. I come from a divided family, and to just make them all about politics doesn't say very much for our relationship.
Rod, this didn't begin here. I mean, you could look at how people talked about President Obama before that, or George W. Bush, or you go back to the Nixon days. Lord knows you could go back to George Washington and Jefferson.
It was nasty in the early 1800s.
It's
I mean,
nasty
it really
all
was.
the time.
But the point now, I feel like, is that the inflammatory rhetoric, the name calling, the stuff like that, doesn't move the ball forward. There's no good end game to that. All that does is make the person doing it feel good when they do it.
And it doesn't mean that when the next election comes along, you're going to fight any less in terms of getting your candidates elected, because in the end, that's what it's all about.
Oh, no, I think if you look at my Facebook posts, they're just as principled as always, but a lot less inflammatory. So hopefully, actually more persuasive.
Very good.
I agree.
Before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about Friday's topic, President Trump's first month in office. Last week was tumultuous for the White House. National Security Advisor Michael Flynn was forced to resign. President Trump said he no longer is committed to a two-state solution for Israel and the Palestinian conflict. And then Trump gave his first press conference, which lasted more than an hour, and he was caught making some statements that were simply not true multiple times. We asked you what you thought about Trump's first month. Barbara Serrano writes, he needs to learn how to have class, humility, and dignity. He's prejudiced, overly sarcastic, and rude. Nikki Oldacker writes, he is doing a great job getting the job done. What I like about him is he is never boring, and he tells it like it is with brutal honesty. He is hiring the best business minds that are willing to set aside their cushy lifestyle to fix the mess our past 3 presidents made. And Bobby Vincent writes, I think the press should boycott his next press conference. He does not have the ability to interact with the press as a sane person. Nothing is answered, nothing is resolved. It's like having a press conference with an 11-year-old child who's spoiled rotten. I can't wait to see how all of you are going to talk about tonight's topic on Facebook. Let us know by visiting our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And FYI, want to watch past roundtable discussions? They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thanks to our guests for being here tonight. Susan Nylon is the CEO of Nylon & Associates, and Rod Thompson is the president of the Sarasota Republican Club. When we return, we'll have a final look at your weather. Plus, standing his ground, a retired police captain is on trial for shooting and killing a man in a Florida theater. We'll have the latest on this hearing in our prime time headlines.
The agents at SWC would like to show you pictures of all the homes that they've sold quickly for their clients. But they're just too many to show. Contact SWC today and find out for yourself. We just market your home better.
Are you considering joint replacement or revision surgery? Consider this. Dr. Edward Stolarski has performed thousands of successful joint replacement procedures and trained surgeons from all over the world. Using advanced technologies, Dr. Stolarski is able to perform some of the most complex surgeries.
I wish I knew about Dr. Stolarski much sooner.
After the surgery, I don't have any pain. It's like I've got a 16-year-old hip.
My name's Ed Stolarski. What I really do is I give people back their life.
Schedule a consultation today.
Car experts and customers agree. There's a whole lot to love about a new Subaru. Subaru was named the 2016 Best Overall Brand, Most Trusted, and Best Performance Brand by Kelley Blue Book. And ALG named Subaru its top mainstream brand for residual value for 2016. Now you can lease a new Subaru Outback for just $229 a month or get 0% financing during the Subaru True Love event. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
Florida's last private island is a waterfront lifestyle like no other. This is Harbor Isle, just 5 minutes from the sugar sand beaches of Anna Maria Island. This sun-splashed paradise invites you to enjoy natural adventures and all the recreation of a tropical resort. Island coach homes and waterfront condos are now available from the high 400s, plus incredible savings on move-in ready homes. Come tour 6 designer models. This is the time of your life. Make it island time at Harbor Isle. Go to mintofla.com now.
Come out to the best party of the season, the Goodwill Mardi Gras Gala on February 28th at Michael's on E. Tickets at experiencegoodwill.org.
Your primetime headlines are coming up, but right now let's get a final check on our weather from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harry. Bob.
Beautiful sunset tonight, Alan. A beautiful day, really. We had sunshine throughout most of it. Warm temperatures, too. Highs topping out close to setting records. And this is a shot that was sent in just a few minutes ago. Longboat Key Bridge from Marilyn Potter right there as a look at the sunset, looking out at the Longboat Pass right there. Norm Schimmel, Norm, getting this one. That's right. He's getting ready for the Baltimore Orioles, to start playing here pretty soon. We are looking at some rainfall, a lot of it too, right now moving through Louisiana and the northern Gulf of Mexico. All this associated with an area of low pressure, which is slowly heading our way. It'll be here in place, looks like, late Tuesday night, but more so Wednesday, and that will bring in some much-needed rainfall. We'll show you that in a minute. 69 degrees currently at the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport, 71 at Bradenton and in Venice, and there's the high, 83 degrees, close, very close to the record of 85 set back in 1997. Temperatures around the state. Low 60s in Jacksonville, 73 now in Orlando, 71 in Miami, still warm, 76 in Key West. Temperatures here along the coast, upper 60s to low 70s, even inland areas, pretty much the same story. Today, though, places like Arcadia, Sebring, Lake Placid, and Wauchula all warmed up into the mid-80s today. The Gulf water temperature now at 71. This storm system is going to bring us some rain. The low pressure area will move and drift to the southeast in time and kind of set up just here in the eastern Gulf of Mexico late Tuesday and into all of Wednesday. And rainfall amounts could be rather interesting. Right now, forecast model, this is the European forecast model, suggesting that the rain begins late Tuesday. You'll see that kind of working its way in, and the rainfall totals right there. By 1:30 Wednesday, we could see in some places over an inch, maybe 2 inches of rainfall before it's all said and done. There could be some isolated heavier amounts depending upon how long this low pressure tracks across our area. Well, elsewhere across the U.S., it's nice over the Northeast and through the Mid-Atlantic coast states. The big story has been the steady stream of moisture that continues to move on in across California. Heavy rainfall again this afternoon and evening will continue there, causing flooding concerns. There are numerous weather watches out across the state, as there has been all winter long, it seems. The temperature is very warm today in St. Louis, Chicago, Kansas City, all at this hour, still into the 60s and 70s there. And even behind that, the temperature's not all that cold. It's just 40 now into Boston. Well, for boaters, winds will be out of the southeast, switching to the southwest at 10 knots. And seas running 1 to 2 feet with a light chop on the bays and inland waters. Looks like Wednesday winds and seas will pick up with that low pressure area. Water temperature now at 71 degrees, and we're expecting a high of 76 at the area beaches, a little bit warmer than that if you push away from the coast. High tide upcoming. Just had it. Low tide will be at 4:07. Another high tide at 11:18. And the forecast for this evening, warm, 60 for your low. There'll be a little bit of patchy fog, but the east winds at 5. So tomorrow, warm weather, partly cloudy, above average temperatures, high near 80 degrees. And the extended forecast is calling for 80% chance for showers and even a few thunderstorms, but temperatures do not fall below the seasonal average of 73 degrees. Alan will be back with primetime headlines coming up.
With 5 on ABC7, your Suncoast News.
How protective is this year's flu vaccine? The answer in HealthSmart.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Are you paying too much for your cable or satellite TV? The U.S. government passed a bill mandating free over-the-air digital transmission of all broadcast network television channels. That means with the new TV Freeway digital antenna, you can get free HD programming from your favorite broadcast networks 24/7 without a bill. You just plug it into the back of your TV and start watching all of your favorite broadcast programs for free. There are no contracts to sign, no hidden fees, and no monthly fees. Just free HD broadcast TV. Take it with you anywhere. Call or go online now to get your TV Freeway stick for the incredibly low price of only $14.99. But wait, call or click now and you can get a second TV Freeway stick for a second TV. Just pay a separate fee, but you have to order right now.
Call 1-800-809-5196 to get your TV Freeway. Call now or go to tvfreeway.com. So call 1-800-809-5196. This offer's not in any store. Call now.
Hurry in to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota for big savings on some of America's best vehicles. Come shop the Suncoast's largest selection of new Jeep Wranglers. Get all the safety and security of a new Dodge Journey for as little as $16,599. Or stop by today and drive away in a 2017 Jeep Patriot for just $15,999. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota today.
As the only certified surgeon of excellence in metabolic and bariatric surgery in the area, Dr. Joseph Chepley has performed more than 1,300 successful bariatric surgeries. Join us on ABC7 News from 5 to 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, February 23rd. Dr. Joseph Chepley and his talented staff will be taking your phone calls as we discuss what makes someone a good candidate for surgery and the different options available to patients in our area. Thursday, February 23rd.
Contemporary Cabinetry and Closet Concepts. Our strength is in building a relationship with our clients. Locally owned and operated for over 30 years. When you organize your home, you simplify your life. Call today for a free in-home consultation or visit the web at contemporarycabinetry.srq.com.
Now for your primetime headlines. It's President's Day, but across the country, not my President's Day protests against the Trump administration are taking place. And late this afternoon, President Trump decided who his new national security advisor will be. ABC's Lana Zach has more from Washington.
Not My President protests attracting thousands from the nation's capital to cities across America.
I thought it could get worse, and every day gets worse.
To Atlanta and Chicago.
We're a month into this administration, and you have this many people still out in the streets protesting because they're concerned about their country.
Thousands turning out for the fifth straight week of protests following the inauguration of President Trump, who insists that all is going smoothly in his administration.
You've seen what we've accomplished in a very short period of time. The White House is running so smoothly.
Trump supporters who ventured into the crowd feel the president is not getting a fair shake.
I think it's a bit of a bumpy start, but nothing like the media makes it out.
And President Trump continues today to lash out against the media on Twitter. But at the same time, in Europe, Vice President Pence says their administration is committed to the freedom of the press.
Both the president and I strongly support a free and independent press. But you can anticipate that the president and all of us will continue to call out the media when they play fast and loose with the facts.
But the importance of getting the facts right is the message being sent by Sweden's prime minister after President Trump incorrectly suggested there might have been a terrorist attack in Sweden over the weekend.
We must all take responsibility for using facts correctly and for verifying any information that we spread.
President Trump announced his replacement national security advisor will be H.R. McMaster. He is also expected to reveal a new travel ban and executive order on immigration sometime this week. Those are just two of the issues that have been galvanizing protesters today. Lana Zach, ABC News, Washington.
As President Trump works to tighten U.S. immigration policies, there is now an uptick in the number of people leaving the U.S. Hundreds are crossing the border into Canada. Some are even willing to be arrested so they can begin making a refugee claim. In January alone, there were 452 cases reported, an increase of 230% over last January. Here in Florida, an all liberal-leaning student organization is demanding federal immigration officials leave undocumented students alone. Students for a Democratic Society based out of Florida State University rallied on campus today. They are asking classmates to vote for making FSU a sanctuary campus in the upcoming student government election.
Obviously, administration can still deny the wishes of the student body, in which case it will be clear whose interests they stand with, and we are definitely going to speak out if they do go against the wishes of the student body.
Just down the road from FSU, state legislators are filing a bill to crack down on sanctuary campuses and cities. The so-called Rule of Law Adherence Act would punish municipalities violating federal deportation orders. Should healthcare companies be required to get state approval to build a new hospital? The debate is taking place in Tallahassee. Right now in Florida, there is a certificate of need process for hospitals as well as nursing homes and hospice facilities. Advocates for the process say doing away with it would create empty beds. However, Governor Rick Scott and other key lawmakers want to take a more free market approach. Bills to eliminate the certificate of need process have failed in the past 2 sessions. Now an update on the capital punishment in Florida. Prosecutors can now seek death penalty in ongoing cases despite a ruling from the state Supreme Court ruling that Florida's death penalty is unconstitutional. Today, the High Court ruled the death penalty can be applied as long as there is a unanimous jury recommendation. In October, justices struck down a state law requiring a death penalty vote from only 10 jury members. Prosecutors have been in limbo on whether or not they could seek the death penalty. Today's clarification came at the request of Attorney General Pam Bondi. Now to Pasco County, where a 74-year-old retired police captain is going to court accused of shooting and killing a man in the movie theater during an argument. The hearing began today for Curtis Reeves. He was arrested in 2014 for the murder of 43-year-old Chad Olson. Reeves' lawyers say the shooting was in self-defense and is citing Florida's Stand Your Ground law. If a judge agrees, Reeves will be immune from criminal prosecution and civil prosecution. If not, he will be tried for second-degree murder. The Atlanta Braves are preparing to move to spring training to Northport in 2019, but today we are hearing from a player about an accident that changed his life. Sean Rodriguez signed with the Braves back in November. Last month, he was driving near his Miami home with his wife and 2 young sons when a man driving a stolen police car struck his vehicle. Rodriguez's wife suffered broken bones and their children were hospitalized. Now Rodriguez is speaking about it for the first time.
I'm here, my wife and my kids are alive, and I get to kiss them and say goodnight to them, and I still love them every day. So for that, I'm just grateful and blessed.
The person driving the stolen police car was killed in the crash. Rodriguez is expected to miss the first half of the season because of his injuries. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.